Hello YouTube. It's been quite a while since I have posted anything. I've been taking a break from the internet and from social media for a while now, and I'm just now trying to get back into YouTube. I'm in Salem for the fall, so I am very excited, and I'm starting to really reconnect with my path, which I never abandoned. However, um, just life circumstances have gotten in the way of me keeping my focus on my higher path. And now I've kind of started to um, find a balance with work and school and my relationships and my spirituality and my creativity and my personal life. So, to get back into the swing of things, I'm not going to do anything crazy today, but I am going to do a tarot review. I plan on reviewing all of my decks, but I've acquired quite a lot. I just got my 42nd or 43rd deck, which there's definitely people with more, but at the same time, it's kind of a lot. So, I do try to review the decks that I can't find any other reviews for on YouTube, just because before I purchase a card deck, I like to watch what people have to say about it, and I like it when people give their pros and cons and show off the cards and mention any changes or mention any information that some people might want to know before buying the deck and investing in it. So I am going to try to do videos for all of the decks that I personally couldn't find any videos for on YouTube before I go into the ones that have already gotten reviews. I think that it's always a nice thing to get a different perspective. You know, 10 people can give completely different ideas on the same deck just because everybody builds their own relationship with their cards. Everybody forms their own kind of bond and has their own opinions on it. So it is good to reference all of those, I think. And that's what I like to do. But anyway, the deck that I'm going to be reviewing today is the Sakki Sakki Tarot by Monica Cleo Sakki. This is a self-published deck, so you can't get it on Amazon, unless that's changed, since I don't think it has. I purchased this deck about, it'll be 2 years in January, so I've had this deck for a while. It was one of my first tarot decks, and I love it. It is one that has always kind of stuck with me. I go through cycles with a lot of my decks, and I'll really vibe with them for a while, but then as the seasons change, I kind of pull different decks out that kind of just fit more with the energy of the moon and with the seasons. But this is one that has managed to stay by my side pretty much consistently, and I do love it. So, I will start off by showing you guys some of the cards. This is the back of the card. So, these cards are nice and matte. They're the size of, I guess, an average, this is pretty standard tarot size. And the cards are a little flimsy, but as far as average tarot cards go, the quality is alright. I handle my decks a lot, and I've also owned this one for a while, and it hasn't really built out any wear and tear at all, which is kind of rare, so they are sturdy, they're good. There is a 79th card in this deck, so aside from the standard major arcana and then the minor, there is an extra card called the Artist. And supposedly this card is compiled of little bits and pieces of every card in the major arcana, which is kind of cool. And this deck is centered around getting back in touch with your creativity and your uniqueness and the artist within all of us. That's what this is called, for the artist in each of us. And I like that. This deck has a very different kind of art that I've seen in any other decks. Instead of paintings, it does use collages. So there's paper cut up and arranged, and you can definitely tell, but it makes for a really unique look. And this deck is very bright and colorful. So here are some of the cards. This is the Queen of Rods. I'm going to try to stay as still as possible because my camera's not great and I would like you to see them because that's the reason you're watching this, I'm sure. Three of Swords. The Moon, which I can't buy a deck if I don't like the Moon card. That's my card. And this deck definitely passes the test. Four of Swords. Ten of Cups. Death. Four of Coins. Ten of Coins. Two of Cups. So something I would like to note about this deck is not in every single picture, but for the majority of the minor arcana, the figures are headless. And I tend to actually like that. I feel like it leaves, depending on the other cards that show up in the spread beside it, it leaves a lot more room for you to kind of put your own emotion in there. It's not set, this is a negative card, this is a positive card. There's a lot of wiggle room for whatever the entire spread before you has laid out because there are no set facial expressions. It's kind of cryptic in a way, I think, but because of how colorful this deck is, it gives it like, I don't know, this deck has a very unique vibe. You'll see what I mean once you work with it. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a loving deck or even an edgy one, but it's certainly very unique and it's always on point. So as long as you're centered. So here's the Tower, and I love this Tower card. It's one of my favorites. The Wheel of Fortune. The Devil. The Knight of Rods. So in this deck, the rods are the wands, and the coins are the pentacles. And cups and swords are the same. So here is the Eight of Coins. So at the top you have the Roman numeral, you have the picture here, and right here you have the planetary symbol. Over here we have the zodiac symbol. So this is the sun, this is Virgo. The book goes into detail about I'm sorry, how astrology is incorporated into the cards and how it kind of weaves into the picture, and it gives you a little bit more meat and a little bit more to like pull off in order to give you a reading. It adds some more detail, which I think is nice because I'm very much invested into astrology, at least in my personal life. The Sun. The Eight of Swords. The Two of Coins. The Star. The Nine of Swords. So one more card I would like to point out is Judgment has been changed to the Angel. I'm not usually a fan of when the major arcana titles are changed. However, it's probably just because I've had this deck for so long, but for this deck's energy, I could not imagine this card being anything but the Angel, so I feel like it kind of works. I don't necessarily understand why this was changed. However, well, I'll get into the book. So anyway, there is a big book sold separately from the deck that is meant to go into really rich and deep detail about the art and the meaning behind all the cards. I don't have that book. I will certainly be purchasing it at some point. I probably should have by now. But it's on my wish list. At some point I will get that book. But anyway, we got a little white book that comes with the deck. As far as little white books go, it's a pretty good one in my opinion. It talks about what is tarot. If you've never worked with a tarot deck before, it just kind of gives you a brief summary of the system, how tarot cards work, and then it talks about this particular deck, the Sakki Sakki Tarot. It talks about the artist card, because this is the deck for the artist in each of us. It talks a little bit about Hebrew letters in the Tree of Life. And then something that I think is always good, especially if you're a beginner when purchasing a deck, there are all the numbers listed and then keywords that go along with the numbers. So if you pull an ace, origin, basic energy of the suit, new potential, new beginnings. For the twos, balancing polarities, unions, decisions, purpose. So if you are just starting, this can be a really good reference guide. In addition to doing that with the numbers, for both planets and zodiac signs, they have the sign listed or the planet listed, and then qualities and keywords associated with that sign. So for example, for Gemini, versatile, quick, dual, split personality, curious, unsettled, mental, independent, inventive, youthful, liberal, restless, easily bored, non-committing, shifting, experimental. So depending on what symbols show up at the bottom of the cards, and they are only on the minor arcana, not the majors, not the court cards, it can add a little bit more detail to your reading. So after that, there are, we go into the spreads. So there's just a daily 1-card spread, and then we get into the 3-card spread. But what I like for this deck, instead of just, this is how you do past, present, future, they give you a list of 3-card spreads that you can choose from. So body, mind, spirit, issue, advice, outcome, beginning, middle, end, self, partner, family, feelings, thoughts, actions, learn, forget, do. So there's a whole bunch of options for 3-card spreads, which is always nice. And then there is a 10-card spread called the Artist's Path spread. It's all about getting back in touch with your inner artist and what you're meant to do and what you're meant to create, and how you can reach your peak of your artistic self. Once we get into the card meanings, we start with the major arcana. So they do give a couple keywords. So for the High Priestess, what we have listed is spiritual, soul, intuition, inner mysteries, feminine wisdom, secret knowledge. And then there's a little blurb talking about what the card means if it shows up in a reading. So as far as little white books go, I do like this one. I normally don't, but this is a good one. I would recommend. I haven't read it, but because I'm sure it's fabulous. For a deck like this that is so unique and kind of alluring and mysterious in its artwork, usually the bigger book to really study the cards thoroughly is helpful. So I think I've covered the bulk of it. This is the box that it comes in. It's nothing special as far as boxes go, but I am a collector, so I tend to hold on to those. I haven't gotten too out of control as far as taking up space goes. All my decks can fit on top of my dresser, so I haven't gotten to the point where like I just can't hold on to boxes anymore because they just take up so much room. That might happen at some point. This would be one of the first to go, but I did have to tape it back together because it just... You also assemble it yourself. I'm just remembering that now. It comes like flattened out, and I don't remember what the cards come in, but you have to fold the cardboard yourself to create the box. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, the box is nothing special. I do like these cards though. I love how bright and colorful they are. They're very playful and whimsical, and they really do inspire the artist within me just because of the medium used and how creative and vibrant some of these cards are. It really does just scream art. um, so this is an excellent deck. I can't remember. It might be SakkiSakki.com. I don't remember off the top of my head. I will post the website I bought this at in the description. I also know that if you go on the website, you can view all the cards. So if you would like to see the rest of them, or you have a favorite card and you're like, I gotta see if I like it before I buy this deck, I'll also include the link to that so you can see all of the cards listed. So I hope you guys like this review. If you have any questions, let me know. In the next coming weeks, I'm probably I'm either going to do one big video on all of my decks, or I'm going to separate it into these are all my Oracle cards and kind of briefly say what I like about them and which ones are my favorite. And then I'm going to do a separate video for these are all my tarot cards, these are the ones I work with the most, these are the ones I don't really connect with. And then from there on, kind of let you guys choose what decks I review. Just because I don't really know where to start. I do have a couple decks that don't have any YouTube reviews, so I will knock those out first. But even if there's some that has a review, if you see one in the video and you're like, hey, like I want to see you do a review on that, then yeah, that's what I'll do. One more thing, we do get an extra card that comes along, and it has all of the planetary symbols and what they are, as well as all the zodiac symbols. So that's a quick little reference for when you're doing a reading, just to add a little bit of extra detail. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you all have a happy October. Bye!